Feel like I've dedicated so much time and energy and I was genuine about this relationship, but when you start to reflect and look back, you question, did this person even really love me at all? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Naila Abdullah. I'm a mental health therapist turned toxic relationship coach. And after overcoming my own personal experiences with both narcissistic, family, and romantic relationships, I work with women like you, helping you also to heal from these experiences, move on, rebuild your life, and most importantly, breaking the cycle of toxic relationships for good. So if that sounds like something you need, let's go ahead and jump into this topic. So a common question that I get from people, clients, and other people that just come across me and want to ask questions, and this is the question I also had myself, is did this person ever really love me? Do narcissists really ever love anyone? And you ask yourself that because you feel like I've dedicated so much time and energy and I was genuine about this relationship, but when you start to reflect and look back, you question, did this person even really love me at all? So as we get into answering that question, and I'll give you a hint, it's not a good answer. I want you to be clear about what a narcissist is. And I say that because I don't want you to just take my word for it, whether they love you or not, have they ever really loved you. I want you to understand what a narcissist is, so you can assess the situation for yourself. Now, there's a ton of information out there already about narcissism, but I just think it's very important to emphasize a little bit because, again, it's one of those words that's thrown around so loosely. And the reality is many of the people that we are calling narcissists have not really been diagnosed. So let me explain that for those of you who don't fully understand. Narcissism is a personality disorder that comes from a book called the DSM. That is a manual that mental health professionals use to diagnose different types of mental health disorders. Some of the common traits of someone with this personality disorder, narcissism, is that they're self-centered. They're not able to have genuine empathy for other people, so they may be able to pretend like they care. They may be able to pretend like they understand your pain, but they really don't have the ability to really have empathy for someone else. They're very self-centered, if I didn't already say that. They're grandiose, so they're somewhat delusional about their level of importance, right? They kind of think that they're bigger than they are. They have a very fragile ego, and that is the one trait that I want you to keep in mind because that really will help you to understand why this answer is the way it is to your question of do narcissists really love anyone. They're also known to be very manipulative. Now, if you ever came across the DSM, the manual that I just spoke about, you will see many other personality disorders in there that share similar traits. So as a disclaimer, as we are having this conversation and you hear any content, any information about these topics, keep in mind when we are using the word narcissist, we're simply saying that we see these toxic, destructive traits in someone, but you don't really know for sure whether they're a narcissist or not. And that is why you will always hear me speak and interchangeably use the word toxic or narcissist, because I don't think it's healthy, or it's helpful rather, to get too caught up in whether someone is a narcissist or not. I see too often people focusing more on trying to diagnose the person rather than trying to heal from the experience. And it's important to know a little bit about the personality disorder or somewhat about the toxic traits and how they function. But once you get enough of that, the focus needs to go back to you. But I digress. Let's get back to the question. So the answer to your question, do narcissists ever really love anyone? The answer is no. The answer is no. And you may say, well, Naila, how do you know that? Based on information that I've read and based on my own personal experiences and assessing my own personal experiences with clients, experiences with people that I know personally in my life, and again, literature that I've read, I would say the answer is no. And what I find very dangerous that people do, and maybe you did it or someone said it to you, is, oh, but they love in their own way. Love is unconditional, and not in the toxic and unhealthy way, unconditional in the sense that you just accept anything from anyone, but it is not a conditional situation. Narcissists, they love with condition, and really they don't love, they attach. Their condition is convenience. Remember I said, pay attention to that one trait that I listed. Well, out of the several traits I listed, I said fragile ego. Because of their fragile ego, they need to be fed. When I say fed, I mean fed with what in the world of narcissism and the terminology that they use the word supply. So think of a mosquito, right? Any type of parasite, but we'll say a mosquito. That mosquito needs to drink blood, right? Any parasite, they need to feed off of a host, right? Off of someone else, something else. And that is the same thing with narcissists. They need supply from other human beings. They need to be attached to other human beings. And that could be attached to their children, right? Very often I used to think that, some people, they do love children even though they have these ways. And I realized that is not the case. They can't even love their own children. They need to attach to their children. They may like to have children. You may even assume, they're good with kids. No, they need the supply. They need the attention. They need admiration. They need to feel needed. They need to feel like they're in control. And this is all because of that fragile ego, right? They actually have a low self-esteem. Even when they come off as very boastful and very, obnoxious and arrogant, it's actually coming from a very fragile ego, and they need to have, this attention, this admiration, this control in order to feel good about themselves. Just to give a few examples of what I mean by it's not love. No, they can't love, but they do like to attach for convenience. Some of that convenience can look like they may want a family, right? They want to get married so they can have a family because that is convenient to feed their ego, to give them supply, to give them a sense of meaning, a sense of control, a sense of people that need them, an image. Image is also very big for them. They don't want to seem pathetic, right? And not because you don't have a family doesn't mean you're pathetic, but in their mind, they want to seem like they have it all, like they fit this particular image. So that's just one example. And like everything else, everyone is different. Every narcissist may not go for that, but this is just one of the examples to feel important, to feel like they've made it. Another reason that they may attach, not love, but attach for convenience is to have children, right? Who else needs you more than children, right? Children are 100% dependent on you. They believe everything you say. They admire you. They adore you. And they need you fully, right? So that is something you will also see with them is, again, I think I said it before, is that you may think that they are great with children. They love having children, but it's really about the supply. Some other reasons or examples of convenience of attaching to you may be for financial support. Some of them are very strategic about coming into your life to attach to you for financial support. Even if they are working and they do have an income, they still want to attach for that financial support. This other one is one that I find go quite hidden. People don't realize it because oftentimes we don't realize the amount of value that we bring into the world or the great traits that we exude out into the world, and we don't realize why people are attracted to us. So with that said, another convenience that it is to attach, not love, but attach to you is your character traits, right? They know that they don't have the capacity to be the person that you are, an honest person, just good qualities, a kind person, a genuine person, a fun person. You bring joy into the rooms when you walk in. People love being around you. People love talking to you. People confide in you, right? People consider you someone that is wholesome, right? Someone that they trust, they admire. They know that if people were to really get to know who they are, and even though they can fool some people, they're very good at that. But if they know that if people were to really get to know who they are, they would not organically attract people to them, right? So they need to attach to you. They need to attach to people who have these character traits that people admire and that are genuine. So as you can see, just with these few examples, everything goes back to that fragile ego, right? To help their image, right? To help their self-esteem, to feed that need for supply. Everything revolves around that. So I know it is hard to accept this answer. Again, the most destructive thing you can think or someone can say to you is that they love you in their own way. Love is love. There is not in your own way, right? It is not supposed to be based on condition. It is not supposed to be based on only when you can do something for me. And one way you can see this is when you no longer feed them that supply. If you ever get to that point, and I hope you do. If you ever get to a point where you don't feed them that supply anymore, you will see that is when the relationship may start to change. You see that in parent to child relationships, where some people may describe a narcissistic parent as being emotionally abusive throughout the childhood. However, there are some narcissistic parents where the childhood was pretty smooth, right? There was a lot of love, a lot of support, a lot of fun and kindness. But the moment that the parents saw that child was becoming very independent and strong and did not need the parent anymore, that is where you would see the parent showing signs of jealousy, maybe gossiping, trying to sabotage the child. And it can become very confusing, because on one hand, they may seem like they're supportive of the child. They may be even bragging about the adult child, right? But that's also about image. It's not really about them being proud of the child. It's really about trying to make them look good. Like, look at what my child did. But on the other hand, you will also see them showing signs of jealousy of the child. And it's very confusing, because who would believe that their own parent, who they had a pretty good childhood with, would be jealous of them or would try to sabotage them? So this is some of the confusion that happens when you are dealing with a narcissistic person. And that is why I always say it's so important to be careful who you speak to when you are looking for support about this experience. Because if you say this to someone who has not had this experience, they will look at you like you're crazy, like you are just paranoid, right? So it's very important to be careful about who you speak to about this experience, because you will often think, it's me, right? It's me. I'm not thinking clearly. I'm being paranoid. And the narcissist will definitely feed on that and try to make you think that it is you. Something is wrong with what you're seeing. As you know how I am already, I don't like to just talk about them, right? If we're talking about healing from narcissistic or toxic relationships, yes, it's important to understand why they function the way they function and kind of what their motives are, and just try to get clarity and make sense of your experience with them. But once you see that, once you understand it, you then have to say, okay, now what do I need to do, right? Because right now you are on their emotional roller coaster. You are, getting mixed signals. One minute they seem like they love you. The next minute they're, breaking you emotionally, manipulating, lying to you, sabotaging you, maybe not overtly, right? But covertly, right? Hidden abuse, hidden emotionally and psychological abuse. So the question is, what are you supposed to do? My suggestion, you accept the reality. You accept the reality that these people cannot love. And if that is hard for you to believe, take out a pen and paper and write down your experiences with them. Write down ways that they have caused chaos, emotional, psychological chaos in your life. How they've done it, how they've sabotaged you, how they have lied to you, manipulated you. This is not love, right? Love means fondness and affection and liking someone. There's no way. I have 2 dogs outside. I like them. I'm not going to do things that's going to put them in distress, and they're animals, right? So we have to keep things simple. Sometimes as human beings, we complicate things, right? We think love has to be complicated. It's simple. Look it up in the dictionary. It's having affection and fondness of someone. Affection means you have a liking to someone, right? If you like someone, you're not going to hurt them, right? If you are fond of them, you're not going to hurt them. Like I said, I wouldn't even want to cause distress to my own dogs, more or less than some human beings. So let's keep it simple. If someone is doing that to you consistently, stop lying to yourself and saying they love me in their own way. We're not taught that some people literally don't have the capacity to love. We think everyone can love, that yes, you can have conflict, you might not like each other, you might make mistakes, but everyone has a capacity to love. And we have to, as adults now, understand that there are some people with personality traits that simply cannot love. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that this episode was helpful for you, and if it was, you would love my free ebook that is listed in the description box below, where I talk about other lessons that I've learned from my own personal experiences, mistakes that I had needed to learn how to avoid during the toxic relationship as well as after the toxic relationship, and how I needed to change my mindset to make sure that I did not fall back into a situation like this again. So go ahead and get access now to that free ebook listed below. If you love this episode, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you're not already subscribed, and share with that one person you know who needs to hear this, that has this question, that's dealing with these situations. Don't keep this information to yourself. We all need support. We all need healing. And if you can't wait until the next episode, go ahead and find me on Instagram. The link is in the description box below. I know my name is not the easiest to spell, so the link is in the description box to connect with me over there. And with that said, I will see you in the next episode.